Scott Sulfridge.
And I'm James Mangrum.
And
we're Uncanny Valley Productions. Damn it, Scott!
I was actually vending at a small convention here in town, and I was doing replica hockey masks at the time. James happened to walk by my booth, and what caught his attention was a Mangler bust.
And I had a Mangler bust, so obviously that was kind of a talking point, you know.
It was meant to be.
Right, exactly.
Slowly it went from let's meet up to talk about masks to hey, we have more in common than just masks. And now
Sparks flew.
Yeah, it's a family. My girlfriend, his wife, you know, they're best friends, and we've luckily all gotten along really well over the past few years. First thing we worked on together
was the Part 4 hockey mask. Literally, like, the very first thing we did is you did that really good Part 4 replica, and then I did, like, the blood painting on it. Yeah, the Pop Monster was really, like, the first thing that became Uncanny Valley.
I started it mainly as a school project and started the sculpt and got it most of the way done. Just decided to finish it up as nicely as we could and made it part of the catalog, so it's technically the very first Uncanny mask. We didn't want a typical cliche type of FX name like bloody this or
scare that. It basically deals with the realm of like physical aesthetics. Really, you have different abstractions of human form in art. Like you've got cartoons or emoticons where it roughly represents a human face or a human being, and as you kind of get closer and closer to reality, you kind of reach a certain threshold where it starts to get a little bit creepy. One of the very first forms of the Uncanny Valley is really a human mask, because I mean it's like a human form that's distorted. You distort the face.
And even though we do focus around a lot of horror and scary imagery, our main focus with these masks are that creepy vibe, or not necessarily something that scares you on a direct level, but something that the longer you look at it, the creepier it becomes. And I think it's a good fitting name.
It's subtle.
Admittedly, we work in a small shed. We've never been, afraid to tell people. I mean, this is where we do all of our mold making, the actual vacuum forming. We do a lot of plaster work. There's many forms of plastic you can actually vacuum form. You heat the plastic until it becomes nice and soft and malleable.
You basically lower the plastic onto it, like a plaster or even like a resin positive of your sculpture, what your mask is going to be. And you have some kind of suction, a vacuum or a vacuum pump, and it just sucks down the plastic, and you basically create your form.
You cut it out, trim it, paint it, sell it.
So you have to constantly be thinking as you're designing, is it going to look good, one, but two, is it going to be functional for the limitations of what you're working with?
I think it's a common tradition now that whenever we do form a brand new sculpt, James and I are like hovering over it like it's a newborn baby, and as soon as it forms, if we can get it off with ease, we handshake and we are happy. Yeah. It's a beautiful sight when it works out the way you want it to.
We just thought it would be like a great niche to kind of get involved in, where we pay homage to classic Ben Cooper, Collegeville, Topstone, Dom Post stuff, but kind of do our own take on it, or see what we can do with limited resources that we have, and try to build on that. And you'll see the evolution in our masks, where it goes from Pop Monster and Coffin Creep, now we're to the Inspector, as we're calling it.
It's also an interesting decision on our end to replicate these old, flimsy, cheap masks, but do a bit of a twist on our end and have a durable, quality paint job. It's more durable, but it still does have a thinness to it that makes you think about the old mask.
Just with having stuff that's not so flat, we have to kind of work from a different angle and use different methods. There's a lot of different ways we actually do, or a lot of different methods we use to paint our masks, and we're still continuing to develop them.
There's several layers that go on, different colors, and it's all about the color choices as well as the placement of each layer that goes into the mask. By choosing the right colors and the right placement, you actually get more depth. It's not necessarily about how many you use, it's how you use those colors.
Coming up with designs was an easy part, because I mean there's so many things that we just like. Go grab one of the little bloody one for the kids.
When we do things that are replicas of some sort, we don't necessarily like doing direct replicas of a specific item. I think what we like to do is make them our own, give them our own uncanny twist. So instead of directly pulling from a film or a comic book for this mask, I actually threw in a few details that I enjoyed from other masks growing up, such as the 1989 Batman mask, the Michael Keaton mask. I gave it more of a sharp brow that you'll see here from the mask. I wanted to have a little more of a flow to it, a bit of a curviness instead of such hard, rigid lines. The overall size I kind of pulled from the Jason X kind of hockey mask that he wore in that film.
Desaad mask, who may or may not be based on a certain 1990s fighting game character. Called it the Desaad because the character himself is loosely based on Marquis de Sade. He's kind of a weird sadist. He just happens to also be a bullfighting ninja, which, you know, Japan, right? I wanted to go with like a really big, like Parisian carnival sort of influence, very European influence. Really tried to make it very sleek, very elegant. A lot of times with researching these classic iconic masks, I try to go a little bit further and look at the things that influence that. Obviously you've got the old Mephistopheles, you know, Faust kind of devil, the very elegant, you know, goatee. But then you've also got a little bit of Krampus, which, you know, kind of animalizes it a little bit more. And also just maybe a little touch of Japanese Oni.
A little bit of, yeah.
So basically any kind of Western, Eastern devil sort of thing you can throw together just to kind of give it just the most devil, kind of devilly devil look that it could devilly be. So much devil.
The Blue Moon here, which is clearly based off of a wolf, I think when we first started the design, we wanted something that was more wolf-based and brought out more of like the canine look.
You got Wolfman and Werewolf. You've got like the 1950s super pompadour wolf with the werewolfy kind of face. So
to me, at least, I've always thought of more of a Wolfman to be more wolf and not just a guy wearing a bunch of hair on his face. But
is it a wolf or is it a man?
Who knows? The paint job.
Well, yeah, it's basically light source. I mean, if you pay attention, it's kind of obvious. You know, Blue Moon, you've got, you know, that kind of light blue, you know, light from the moon on this one side, and then you've got kind of dark shadow and maybe like some kind of other light source, say like emanating from a window, you know, of potential victims, and then of course you've got the nice glowing yellow eyes.
I think what makes James and I a good team is that we both do have common skills when it comes to the artistic nature of the mask. James is, you know, obviously sculpting, painting, very good at designing. I love to fabricate, I love to build, I love to kind of tinker around. So I think I take charge with a lot of the forming of the masks, trimming of the mask, cutting.
If I were trying to produce this stuff, not even half of it would exist, because I'd be like, this doesn't work, I can't finish this, we gotta try this. Scott will be like, no, here, this is how we make this work. So Scott's really kind of the more practical, let's make this work, this can actually be plausible.
We obviously like what we're doing now with vacuum form masks, and I think it'd be nice if eventually we can just branch out into doing latex masks, and then maybe after latex, silicone, and then after silicone, where do we go from there? Every step you take financially, it gets deeper and deeper and deeper into your wallet, and I think that we just need to keep working at what we're doing now and just take it slow and not rush it. Someday in the future, I think it would be nice, you know, maybe locally or even on a higher level to do prop making
costume fabrication.
Costume fabrication.
I think that'd be a great thing to kind of be a little more versatile and build up and go from there.
Me and James have both agreed we never want to stop making masks because that's just that's our passion.
And we're on Uncanny Valley Productions.